It used to be a parking lot and now it's a garden. The Edible Schoolyard is located in the back corner of the Martin Luther King Middle School campus in Berkeley. My name is Zoe Salnov, and I have been involved in the Edible Schoolyard program for 6 years. This is a place where flowers are edible. It's a place where tables are set for lunch, where it's okay to get dirty, where best friends have an excuse to cook together. It's a place where I relearned how to eat.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all? Good. You're seeing what we have here? Good. It's my mic. It's a very versatile thing. And then it's going to be our lunch in about a minute. We are going to make some fried rice today. My name is Esther Cook, and I am the head teacher in the kitchen at Edible Schoolyard. And I have been here, this is going on 14 years now, so I'm the founding teacher here at Edible Schoolyard in the kitchen. The Edible Schoolyard is a really interesting collaboration between a local business, Chez Panisse, and we operate with their foundation. It's a collaboration with a public school, and it is a program that is integrated into the curriculum of the school to support the curriculum that students are learning in their classroom through gardening and kitchen.
You can go a little faster, go.
I first came to the Edible Schoolyard in my 6th grade year with my humanities class. Throughout the next 3 years, I would be exposed to the ideas of slow food and sustainability. The meaning of food would transform for me forever.
Slow food. Well, my big goal in edible education is to make a program that is irresistible. Because I don't want to prod anybody. I don't want to say, you have to do this. I want them to want to do it. And that's a very different way of teaching, where you're trying to find that little spark. You know, I want to give you something to eat until you smile. You know, and then I know it will become a habit for your life. It's not something that you just learn while you're taking your tests and then you forget it. This is something we do every day for our whole life.
I gained a new appreciation for food in the Edible Schoolyard kitchen. I learned that the pleasure isn't only in the eating, but also the preparation. I learned to love to cook.
In the kitchen, we are pretty much focused on preparing and executing our lunch and setting the tables, getting everybody really in the habit of understanding the responsibility that it takes to feed people, especially people who have been physically working. And I think that it's also a nice experience to sort of mingle the hard work with social fun, and to really sort of highlight the pleasure of working together, and how when you do work together you can really accomplish things that would be either impossible or really not fun on your own, but working with a group, it becomes much more than just having to get something done.
When I was handed a handful of rainbow chard to chop up for the first time, I thought it was beautiful. It also turned out to be delicious when sautéed with dinosaur kale and onions. I became a vegetarian for a week. Cooking in the Edible Schoolyard kitchen is like cooking in a restaurant kitchen filled with old friends. There is always music playing, conversations traveling, vegetables being chopped, pots on the stove, and a feeling of comfort. Relationships between teachers, students, and their peers bud in the kitchen. Small prompts spark long conversations, which ignite relationships over collaborative cooking. The slow food we made in the kitchen was comfort food, made with love and over time, delicious.
We try to run the kitchen in a way that will appeal to 1,000 different little personalities that we have here at school. We really want to engage people, and for the most part, the food is what engages most of our students. The task of preparing the food and enjoying the food. But there are a few students who it might be more of a social experience for them. It may be a place for them to express themselves artistically. They can play the piano, they can write on the chalkboard, and they can do any manner of creative things, make a beautiful arrangement for the middle of the table. But generally speaking, I think for most kids, the act of preparing food is a discovered pleasure here. And I think that giving students responsibility during the day for performing a task that they then get to reap the rewards of is very befitting for this age group.
There's a connection that you make with the food when you've grown it out in the garden and then you cook it in the kitchen. When you experience the entire process of making a meal, from the planting to the cooking, from the seed to the table.
You already have a time set out in the day for school lunch. And what if we completely transformed that experience and made it something beautiful and delicious and wholesome? We could bring children into a new relationship to food. And so that's really what it's all about, to start thinking about counting beans instead of buttons in kindergarten. And engaging the kids with an experience in nature that helps them to fall in love.
The garden holds many little pleasures, and slow food is all about the little pleasures. Collecting warm eggs from the chicken coop, finding the ripest raspberry buried underneath prickly leaves, defrosting my hands over the warm steam of the compost piles in the early morning, building a trellis and watching the peas grow up the sides, growing a variety of garlic, and when the stems are long, braiding garlic to hang on the walls in the kitchen. I remember the pride that I felt when I saw a tiny leaf sprouting out from where I had buried a seed only weeks before. Edible taught me the importance of good food. I learned the concept of seed to table, how friendships can start in the strangest places, like atop a pile of mulch or over a snack. I learned to appreciate simplicity, how a slice of cantaloupe and lime makes a great dessert. I don't shop at farmers markets every week, but Edible did influence me to choose organic over non-organic soil for my garden. And even though we don't have a yard, I started a small garden at my house in buckets and pails on my deck in the back.
I just think that coming to the table is a beautiful punctuation in the day. You're kind of running and moving, and all of a sudden you come down and you sit down. And whether you sit down with your friends and your family, or whether you sit down alone, it's a moment of sort of restoration and a moment of inspiration if you have something beautiful on your plate. But I think that's the place, the dinner table, is where we learn about each other.